Attorney, are you here today? In effect, the family allowed you to speak. It's to give a message na si Cabral sumusunod.
Yes.
Sumusunod lang siya. Ganun ba yun? No?
Ganun naman talaga, Karen, sinasabi niya. Kaya nga, she was spiraling into depression kasi lagi niya sinasabi, ma'am, anong ginawa ko? Sumunod lang ako. I was just being a good soldier. Ever since, from the time of Secretary Singson, the time of Secretary Villar, to the time of Secretary Bonoan. So there's no truth to the allegations that she was the most powerful undersecretary. Ganito na lang, Karen. If this business is that lucrative, do you think the powers that be, or even the secretaries, would leave it all to her? Would the powers that be or the secretaries, would they give her full discretion on how the allocations would be made? I think the logical answer would be hindi, di ba? And even Undersecretary Bernardo in his supplemental affidavit, kahit siya inadmit niya na all requests were coursed through Secretary Bonoan. None was coursed through Ms. Cabral.
And how did the late Undersecretary Cabral feel that Secretary Manny Bonoan was actually allowed to leave the country? He's not in the Philippines right now. He's not being questioned by the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee, not being investigated. I mean, literally, he's escaped a lot of questioning.
Yes. Karen, that was also contributory to her depression because she felt parang she was being abandoned.
Yeah. Oo, at saka ba't di pa panagutin yung secretary? Ang nangyari, siya yung tinatanong.
Yun yung niya, Karen, yung sinasabi niya, why were the men in power and why were the men of power and decision making not being asked to account?
Now, did she open this up with Secretary Vince Dizon? Did she say, Secretary Dizon, sumunod lang ako kay Secretary Bonoan? Did they have that kind of relationship? Or
I am not sure if she had the opportunity to explain that to Secretary Dizon. But I was going over the TSNs during the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee. Yun yung explanation siya. Unfortunately, she was even admonished for that. Parang sinasabi, parang if there was one senator yung sinasabi, bakit turo ka ng turo? Ba't puro Secretary Bonoan ka ng Secretary Bonoan?
Now, when you think about it today, undersecretary nga ako, yung secretary na susunod. Parang ganon.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, there were...
Sorry, Karen, if I may just add, yung budget proposals, these are all approved by the secretary. Parang yung process, according to her, and which again, she explained to the Office of the Ombudsman, the process was, at the time of the budget call, they would generate the list of projects from the national database, together with the budget proposals, the regional budget proposals coming from the district offices and the regional offices, and project proposals coming from the secretary. Their office would consolidate it, verify and validate it, and submit it again to the secretary for final approval before it is submitted to the DBM. So, talagang the secretary, it is the secretary who calls the shots.
No. Okay.
And she just follows instructions from the secretary.
Now, did Undersecretary Cabral tell you that she would want Secretary Bonoan to be called?
Not in those words, but lagi niya lang sinasabi na parang she felt abandoned.
Yun ang lagi niya sinasabi. I felt abandoned. There were also allegations that, I think this was asked of her sa ICI, she would get a 4% cut. And allegedly, former DPWH Secretary Mark Villar will get an 8% cut of projects. It sounds so big listening to it, but did she respond to this?
Well, of course she denied that, Karen. And I can say that it is not true, but people will probably not believe me. So I will just let the facts speak for themselves. Kung meron siyang ganun the facts are, she passed on living with her and her children living in Tatalan, Quezon City. I'm not sure if you're familiar.
Yun nga, I'm familiar.
with that
Tatalan,
place.
Quezon City. There are reports, eto pag-usapan natin, that Undersecretary Cabral has a house in Forbes Park. May malaking bahay daw sa Corinthians. Ganun na siya kayaman. There's 20 billion pesos in her bank account.
Yeah, these are all not true, Karen. Yun nga, up until her death, they were living in Tatalan, Quezon. Until now, the children are still in Tatalan, Quezon City. She died using only one car, that old Kia car that you've probably seen.
Yung sa driver.
Yung sa driver, yung gamit ng driver. Her two daughters, one is working as a cook in a hotel in Metro Manila. She doesn't even call herself a chef. She just calls herself a cook. The other is a salary grade 11 employee in one government office.
Does she still work?
Yes,
Right now,
one commutes to work, the other is paying for her own car on an installment basis for 5 years. Karen, if you have that much money, I'm sure she would have let her children have a taste of luxury. Hayaan mo, kung meron kang 20 billion pesos in your bank account, I'm sure the fund, the cost of putting up even just a cafe would be a pittance. So I'm sure the people who know the children would attest to their lifestyle.
Okay. Now,